returns is a reminder that I'm not out of the clear. And all the nightmares that I suffer while I sleep.
All right, I'm Fred with Punktastic. I'm here with Chris from Anti-Flag. How you doing, Chris?
Very well, my friend.
Cool. And you guys have been touring Europe. You've been doing everywhere.
Yeah, we've been on the road pretty much since February of this year, with just a few breaks in between. But we have a new record. It's called American Spring, and we're working diligently to share it with folks.
Good. I think that's probably going pretty well, actually, because
yeah,
spreading around.
Yeah, it seems to be. The reaction of the record's been great. Everyone's been very kind that we've interacted with. So in that sense, yeah, it's doing well.
And why American Spring? Like, is now springtime for America? Do you feel some kind of resurgent energy?
Well, it's a hopefully an obvious tip of the cap to the Arab Spring in the Middle East, which was a youth movement and revolution spawned through the use of technology on an unprecedented level in a place of the world where they said revolution wasn't possible. So for us to see that from afar and to see democracy spread and this idea of putting humanity first, that's something that Anti-Flag has always been lock and step with. So we wanted to make sure to not see that as a footnote in history, but at least have some document somewhere that in 2015 there were people that stood on the side of humanity. So that's what the way we kind of look at all records. You know, they're not necessarily built for a goal of saying like Anti-Flag released a song and then the next day this was changed. You know, it's about leaving something behind that proves what side of history you were on. So when you look at endless police violence, when you look at the largest ever divide between the wealthy and poor in the world, these were things that we wanted to comment on, that we were focused on commenting on, and that's essentially what the record's about. So on some level, spring is about renewal and rebirth, and obviously that ties into the imagery of the record. We use a lot of cherry blossoms. We use an exploding flower in the imagery of the record, and we use archetypal faces to kind of juxtapose and put violence in people's face when there actually is no violence. So there's a lot of things that we're trying to say, both with the art of the record, but also with the sonics and the lyrics and the essays of the record. But ultimately, I think for us, it's just about saying, in 2015, there are people living with empathy. And if you're looking for a document of who they were and what they were about, here's a whole community about them.
So then if you go back through your back catalogue, you've basically got a chronicle of struggles and statements and almost mementos and records of the struggle.
Yeah, and in often cases, there are some that are there are some issues that have gone away. You know, we have songs that have almost become obsolete because the issue that they were about has either been eradicated or changed through protests. So it's nice to have tangible victories, but also all of the songs that we've ever written have been about ending nationalism, ending racism, ending sexism, ending homophobia, and those are constant struggles. Those don't go away after the song is written.
And then, I mean, with the current sort of trajectory of US politics, Obama's on his way out and potentially Trump is on his way in. Mm-hmm. Where is Anti-Flag with that? I'm guessing you've got some big plans on the way, huh?
Well, I mean, it's clear to us that history is not made by presidents or prime ministers. History is made by the people. So whoever is elected, they'll be held to pay, and we'll be trying there to give it to them. The same with Obama and his drone campaign. That's something we're not looking away from and something we're not shying away from, and it's in our dialogue. So for steps forward, like a healthcare system that is you can count it on one hand how much better it is than it was in the past. It's actually a system that's forcing us to give healthcare companies money. That's very frustrating to us, when, especially as a band who tours the world and is in so many places that have socialized medicine. We see that as a system that works, and we want it implemented in our country. And to have Obama come into office with such power and such fervor and end up selling us out to healthcare companies, that's a frustrating proposition, and that's something we're commenting on. But there are many steps forward. There's equality for gay marriage in the states, and that's something we applaud. There is at least a discussion about healthcare. That's something we applaud. But not closing down Guantanamo Bay is frustrating. Like I said, endless drone strikes, seemingly ramping up wars in the Middle East when he came in and was elected as the anti-war president. That's very frustrating. So it's our job as people that live with empathy and people that are concerned about more than just ourselves to join together, to build camaraderie, to build community, to build family, and use that power and that strength to influence these people in their decision making. Whether it's Trump or Hillary Clinton, it's not necessarily the issue. The issue becomes, what do we then do with it?
And then, so as you're traveling around Europe, I mean, obviously you're in Spain for a few days.
Yeah.
And it's a very tense situation there. You've got rampant youth unemployment, and many regions in that country are sort of incredibly, what's the word, frictious, perhaps. So, I mean, how did you pick up on any of that when you were playing there?
Well, I mean, of course, you see it in just even the way you travel, where things are difficult at the airports, or being picked up by taxis and things like that. These are people that were just on strike or just coming off of strike. So it's definitely an important historical time for Spain and Greece and a lot of Europe. So I think that commenting with folks at the shows, having a discussion about what's happening in their world, that's something that we like to do. After the set, we hang out and become educated on what's going on in the town. And again, it's not up to a band or a record or a t-shirt or any of that to change the world. It's the relationships that are formed in places like that. That's where the power lies, and we don't live in Spain. We were there for 5 days and we're gone. So if there was some momentum gained in a movement towards humanity by having a show like that and bringing people together and showing them that they're not alone in their care for others, that's why we do it. That's where our optimism comes from.
So it's still the same thing that motivates you that always did?
Absolutely. I mean, we never thought we would play outside of Pittsburgh. So everywhere we go that's new, every city we play that's further away from home is a shot in the arm for us to continue going.
Okay, and after all of these years, because you've been going a long time now, I wanted to ask, from all the interviews that you've been doing, what questions have you just grown tired of? Or you've grown tired of answering in the same sort of routine ways that you always have to?
I really try to not be that much of a curmudgeon about stuff. So yeah, sometimes it gets posed to us like, what's something that nobody asks you, or what's I'm okay with us just having a discussion. We don't need to be talking about records or our band in particular. It's all.
I prefer it that way as well,
yeah,
actually.
It's fine. So there's nothing that I need to say that we haven't said, and if there is something, I'll just say it. I've also done many interviews where they say like, oh, what do you think about this band, and then we want to talk about foreign policy, so we just steer the discussion that way. I mean, that's our role in this, and that's our agenda in this. So again, you can ask me whatever you want. I won't be offended.
Do you reckon then, because obviously your agenda is to talk about ideas and politics, do you reckon, obviously this is one you must have heard before, that there is a distinct lack of that in sort of more popular channels of music, or the distribution of music rather, if people are making it but it isn't getting out there? Yeah,
I mean, but again, it's not our job or our place as a band who plays 4 chords and says the F word a lot, to say what someone should or shouldn't be doing. So if people don't want to make music that's influenced by the politics of the world, that's fine. I would argue that a lot of the decisions that they're making in their lives are political decisions, whether they know it or not, or whether they like it or not. So based on that, even music that's there for the sake of being music, or love songs, or songs about nothing. It's still some type of social commentary, and there is a responsibility that comes with that. So, I try not to concern myself too much with what others are doing. I like all types of music. I listen to all types of music. I'm of the iPod generation, where I know no genre boundary. So that being said, it's really not something I sweat or lose sleep about.
Cool. Is there any sort of other genres that you want to add into Anti-Flag based on that?
Well, I mean, again, I think that punk rock to me is an ideal, and it's not a sound-specific thing. It's about living with empathy. It's about wanting to leave things better than you found them. And, Woody Guthrie was a folk musician, and he was one of the most punk rock musicians there were. So in the UK, you have Billy Bragg, and Billy is as punk rock as it gets, but his medium is very different sonically, but his agendas are lock in step with what I believe the ethos of punk rock to be. So it's, again, there's nothing I hope to have happen. There's nothing I'm wishing was more of. We can only put our head down and do what we do, and hopefully people identify with it and connect with it. And again, if it's songs about Obama, or songs about Clinton, or songs about Trump, or songs about Jeb Bush, we have a history of songs against the Bush family. We have a history of songs against the Clinton family. We're well prepared for it.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you very much, mate. Nice one.